I'm Guillermo Scaglia with the LSU Ag Center at Dean Lee Research and Extension Center. We're going to be discussing a little bit about the nutrition of the beef cow during gestation. Most importantly, during mid and late gestation. Let me set up the scenario first. Let's assume that we are talking about a spring calving herd, and that we start breeding season on April 15, and that on average our cows get pregnant on May 1st. If that happens, that means that on August 1st, that cows are going to start the second third of gestation, and on November 1st, they're going to start the third and last trimester of gestation. So, saying that, we need to know first of all that depending on which physiological status we found the animal, that animal is going to have different requirements. Of course, the peak of requirements occur basically a couple of months after calving, when there is a maximum of milk production. However, we want that animal, that cow, to get pregnant again within probably 90 to 100 days after calving. So, as I was saying a couple of minutes ago, on May 1st, that cow is going to get pregnant, and is going to have a baby calf by her side. That is going to be around, as I said, approximately 90 to 100 days. Now, based on those numbers, we know actually that starting on August 1st, the requirements of that cow are going to increase, basically because of gestation. Remember that she is still milking, producing milk for that calf. Even though maybe the production is not too much, she is still dedicating nutrients to produce milk. So starting on the second third of gestation, as I said, the requirements start to go up. At that point, as I said, August 1st, our summer pastures, mainly our perennial grasses, are not, they are starting to produce less, and the nutrient value is relatively low or medium to low. That means that maybe those perennial grasses are not going to be able to provide enough nutrients to that cow that is entering in the second third of gestation, and as I said, it's still milking. If we go further, November 1st, at that point the animal will get into the third and last trimester of gestation. Hopefully we already wean by then, but the summer perennials are not there anymore. There is no more production from them, and if we planted the cool season grasses, these are still not available. So at that point in time, is give or take, is our hay feeding period, right? So if we do that, and again, in the cow entering in the last third of gestation with higher requirements, probably around 27% more than in mid-gestation, that hay may not provide enough nutrients to those cows either. The reason I'm saying, or I'm introducing this presentation like this, is just to let you know that during many times of the year, we may be underfeeding that cow based on those requirements, right? Now, the cows, of course, the requirements of them will depend on many factors. But for example, breed, season of the year, and of course physiological status will affect how many nutrients those animals need. Saying all this and talking about nutrient requirements and talking about the pastures that may become available during that period of time, we know that we'll probably need to be supplementing something, protein, or maybe energy, or maybe both. I'm assuming also that this herd receive mineral supplementation year round, so I'm not going to be talking about that particular topic today. Saying all that, why is so important to make sure that we provide enough nutrients to the cow herd during every phase through the year? Mainly because we may be affecting the herd future reproductive performance, but by actually we are also affecting the progeny. What I mean by that is that the nutrition that we provide to that cow during gestation may one way or another affect how the baby calf is gonna be born, how it's gonna grow, and what their performance is going to be through life. The requirements for gestation starts mainly approximately on day 70 after the initiation of this phase. So from day 70 until parturition, we are having these animals requiring more and more nutrients as gestation advances. Again, the last third of gestation is the one that requires the most nutrients, and that's the reason for that is that approximately 70% of the growth of the fetus occurred on that period of time, in those 60 to 90 days. The baby calf grows immensely during that time, and nutrients, especially protein and energy, they go up pretty fast. Going back at what may happen if we underfed our cows, we know that protein and energy supplementation may affect the performance of the calf after it's born and during their lifetime. For example, protein supplementation during the last third of gestation, so that the cow receives the nutrition that she needs, may assure that the calf is going to be born with enough muscle development, so that the performance that he has from being born to weaning, and if it is a steer after that, it will be assured that it will make his genetic potential. The whole issue with this factor is what we understand, or what we refer to fetal programming. Fetal programming means basically that there are stressors during the gestation period that may affect the progeny and subsequent performance. And we know, for example, that the placenta and the limbs are the first parts that are developed, and then all the rest of the organs from the fetus started to develop: the kidneys, the lungs, the spleen, etc. So if we are affecting the nutrition of the cow during this period of time, we are basically affecting also the development of that fetus, or the development of certain organs of that fetus. On the other hand, if we affect the nutrition on the last third of gestation, when the fetus basically grows really quickly, we may affect the animal too, mainly for muscle development, as well as adipocyte, which are the fat cells that are developed during that period of time. If we underfed the cow during the last third of gestation, and she has a male calf, that male calf may have lower birth weight, and the development of that animal will be reduced. We know that protein supplementation during the last third of gestation may affect the birth weight. Animals or cows that don't receive enough protein during that period of time have a calf that are lower in birth weight compared with cows that are supplemented with enough protein. That difference in weight, in birth weight, is around 5 pounds. If it is a heifer calf that is born, it has also been demonstrated that heifers that were born from cows that were supplemented with enough energy during the last third of gestation reach puberty earlier. They are heavier at breeding, and get pregnant before heifers, calves that were born from cows that were not supplemented with energy in the last third of gestation. So with this basic knowledge, we highly recommend that we take into consideration the nutrition of the beef cow throughout the gestation period. There is not good moment to say, okay, I'm going to rough it up a little bit on these cows, because what you do today in terms of nutrition may affect, as I said at the beginning of this talk, not only the performance of that particular mama cow, but also her progeny. And if you start thinking about how you may affect the heifer calves by differentiation in the nutrition of the cow, you may be affecting the performance of your herd for many years. So you just affect the mama cow at the moment you're feeding her. You affect the baby calf or the heifer when she's born, and also the development of that heifer. And we know that there might be even effect down the line too with the granddaughters and great-granddaughters of that particular cow. So again, to reinforce the issue, what you do in terms of nutrition of the herd today, it may affect from many years from now.